At the beginning of the movie, we are introduced to a desperate young woman named Wainwright, stumbling through a brutal storm in the year 1247, scavenging whatever scraps of food she can find just to survive the night. Exhausted, she collapses to the ground. When the storm finally breaks, she spots a flicker of firelight in the distance and follows it, hoping for shelter, food, maybe even safety. What she finds instead is a man sitting alone by a bonfire, and the moment she realizes who he is, her entire plan changes. This is Robin. Yes, that Robin. The legendary outlaw who steals from the rich to feed the poor, the hero countless stories have been built around for generations. But here's where the movie immediately flips the script on us. Robin himself scoffs at his own legend. He tells her flatly that the stories are lies. He's not a hero. He's a killer who's taken lives simply because he could. He warns her to leave before disappearing into the dark himself. But Wainwright doesn't leave. She eats what little she has, says a quiet prayer, and goes looking for him again, this time with murder on her mind. She finds him sleeping by another fire and creeps in for the kill. Except Robin was never asleep. In a heartbeat, he flips the ambush, slashes her throat, and calmly watches the life drain out of her as he realizes exactly why she came for him. Revenge for relatives he killed. Before she dies, he coldly critiques every mistake she made in her attempt on his life and then finishes the job. The next morning, Robin buries her next to a long row of other bodies. People who've tried and failed to kill him before. This isn't his first attempt on his life. It won't be his last. While washing up by a river, Robin is approached by an old friend from his outlaw days, Little John. And John brings devastating news. Every other member of their old gang is dead. He also brings a confession. 10 years ago, John killed a farmer and quietly took over his identity, building an entire new life, wife, daughter, farm under a dead man's name. Now that secret has unraveled. The real farmer's family discovered the truth, stole everything from John, and tried to kill him. He barely escaped with his life, and now he's begging Robin for help, taking it all back. Robin initially refuses. He's tired, done with fighting, ready to disappear. But when John warns him the enemy waiting for them is brutal enough that this fight could genuinely be his last, something in Robin shifts. Maybe that's exactly what he's been looking for all along. He agrees. The two men travel together for days. Early on, John kills a stranger just to steal his food, a small but chilling reminder of exactly what kind of men we're following. Along the journey, John reminisces about one of their old legendary battles, only for Robin to flatly shut it down. It never happened. Just another story people made up about him. Then John opens up about something real, his wife Margaret, and how her quiet kindness pulled him back from being a complete monster. She taught him to pray, to paint, to feel human again. John dreams of the day they rescue her and vanish beyond the mountains to start over. Robin says nothing. He already knows he's not planning to survive this. When they finally reach the farm, the plan is ruthless and precise. They strip down, rub dirt into their skin to mask their scent, and wait for a thick fog to roll in before making their move. Robin kills the guard dog with a single arrow before slipping into a shack and slaughtering everyone inside without hesitation. A wounded man tries to crawl away. Robin doesn't let him get far. Then comes the moment the entire film has been building toward. The two men storm the main house. Inside, a man grabs Margaret and uses her as a human shield, screaming for a boy to run for backup. Margaret, in her final moments, begs John to protect their daughter right before she's stabbed multiple times in front of him. What happens next is pure, uncontrolled rage. John tears into her killer with his bare hands, beating him long after he's already dead so violently that the aftermath is almost too brutal to describe. Meanwhile, Robin spots the fleeing boy trying to reach his family for help and puts an arrow straight through his skull before he can escape. When John finally collapses beside Margaret's body, grief-stricken and shaking, he realizes his young daughter, little Margaret, has witnessed everything. In one of the film's most quietly devastating moments, he takes her hands, and together they pray over her mother's body. But the horror isn't over, not even close. Elsewhere, a shepherd named Arthur discovers his cousin's body shot clean through the head with an arrow. The boy is carried home to die, and his grieving elder father straps on his armor, hungry for vengeance. That night, Robin wakes to chaos. The dead farmer's family has set the main house ablaze, trapping him inside a burning shack. In a scene dripping with tension, Robin fights his way out, stabbing a man's hand straight through solid wood to break free. Crawling through smoke, getting his face shoved into the mud, and finally killing his attacker in brutal, close-quarters fashion using the man's own knife before finishing him off with fire. John, meanwhile, ignores every warning and runs back into the burning house to retrieve his wife's body, only for the vengeful elder father to appear, demanding both John and little Margaret's lives as payment for his family's blood. What follows is one of the most vicious fights in the entire film. Robin steps in to face him, and for a moment, it looks like the older, more experienced fighter has the upper hand, breaking Robin's leg, striking him again and again. Just as he raises his weapon for a final killing blow, John appears from behind and ends him first. Barely alive, Robin is loaded onto a cart the next day. Fading in and out of consciousness, all he remembers is the searing pain of his wounds being cauterized shut. Eventually, they reach an island, and John makes an agonizing choice. He drops Robin off at a remote monastery for safety, knowing the surviving relatives will keep hunting him if he stays close. John and little Margaret disappear, leaving Robin behind. The last thing he sees before blacking out is a mysterious, bandage-covered figure watching him from the shadows. When Robin wakes, he's told he's been unconscious for 6 days, cared for by a woman named Sister Bridget. She reveals something unsettling during his fever. Robin repeatedly begged her to simply let him die. She admits, almost guiltily, that she couldn't bring herself to grant that wish. That night, the bandaged stranger reappears, this time delivering a cold warning: "Don't bring danger to this place." As days pass, Robin slowly regains his strength inside this hidden, peaceful community, a stark contrast to everything we've seen so far. Bridget makes it clear he must contribute if he wants to stay, so he agrees to hunt. When he tries to steal away using a boat on the shore, the mysterious bandaged man catches him in the act. In daylight, Robin finally sees the truth. The man is a leper, permanently disfigured, tasked with ferrying the weak and dying to and from the island. He refuses to help Robin escape until his debt to the monastery is repaid. Just when it seems like Robin might finally find peace, the leper returns from one of his trips with someone Robin never expected to see again: little Margaret. She sprints into his arms and delivers the gutting news that John is dead. From here, the film shifts into something quieter, but arguably more emotionally devastating. Robin tries to teach Margaret survival skills, but he's haunted by every kill he makes in front of her, including the disturbing moment he snaps a rabbit's neck, sending her running in fear. When he pushes the leper for answers about his past and the journey with Margaret, the dying man deflects, choosing instead to teach Robin about growing fruit, a small, symbolic gesture of peace neither of them fully understands yet. Tension explodes again when Margaret is caught chasing another child with a knife after a violent outburst, sending the entire community searching for her. Robin eventually finds her hiding in a cave, blade still in hand. When he approaches, she nearly stabs him too, until he calms her down enough to learn she's terrified of anyone discovering who her father really was. Robin, in a moment of raw, protective fury, warns her never to speak little John's name again. Later, the leper reveals he's dying, and shortly after, brings one final person to the island, a man named Arthur, missing an eye, claiming he was attacked while searching for his missing niece. Robin, suspicious immediately, introduces himself using a fake name, carefully probing Arthur for details that might expose whether he's connected to the family hunting him. Then comes the gut-punch reveal that recontextualizes the entire film. On his deathbed, the leper asks Robin if he's ever heard the story of Robin Hood and a knight named Guy of Gisborne. When Robin dismisses it as fiction, the leper reveals the unthinkable: he is Guy, and he's known Robin's true identity this entire time. Before dying, he begs Robin to protect this fragile, peaceful community after he's gone, but never, ever reveal his real name to Bridget. After the funeral, Robin makes a desperate decision to eliminate any lingering threat to the monastery's safety. He lures Arthur, who finally admits his real name is Godwin, away under a false pretense. Alone on the beach, Robin confronts him directly, forcing a confession. Godwin was sent to kill Margaret as payback for his family's deaths. In a moment thick with exhaustion and moral collapse, Robin admits the cycle of revenge never actually ends. It just keeps consuming more lives. He gives Godwin a stark choice: walk away from this bloodshed forever, or die right here. Godwin chooses to disappear. Back at the monastery, Robin makes the choice that will define the rest of the film. He finally tells Bridget the truth about who he really is: a monster, a killer. Bridget, devastated beyond words, walks away in silence, refusing to hear his apology. Then the story delivers its most gut-wrenching twist yet. While painting faces for a community celebration, Bridget suddenly reveals the truth she's been hiding this entire time. Robin was the one who murdered her family. Her home burned. Her husband tried to shield their children. None of them survived. The revelation hangs in the air, and Robin, drowning in guilt, has no words left to offer. That night, Robin dreams of John once more, a warm, hopeful dream about rescuing him and Margaret, and starting over until an arrow suddenly pierces John's skull, and Robin realizes with horror that he's the one who fired it. The next morning, Robin finally tells Bridget he's ready to die, and in the film's final, quietly heartbreaking sequence, she agrees to let him go this time, without stopping the bleeding. As his life slips away, Robin calls little Margaret to his side, finally reveals her father's real name and their true story, and makes her promise never to repeat it to anyone, lest revenge come looking for her too. With his final breath, he places a brand new bow in her hands and guides her through her very first shot, passing on the only thing he has left to give her, as he quietly dies. And that's the full, brutal, emotional ending of one of the most intense, character-driven action films we've broken down on this channel. If this recap had you hooked the entire way through, that's exactly the kind of storytelling we bring you every single week. And if you're scrolling past this without hitting subscribe after everything you just watched, you're genuinely missing out on recaps just like this landing straight in your feed. Hit subscribe right now so you never miss the next one. And drop a comment below, do you think Robin deserved peace at the end? Or did he get exactly what he had coming? See you in the next recap.